Day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second, whatever you want to call it, Logan Paul is in constant turmoil from the online beating he is receiving from Dylan Dennis. I just went over the face-off he had with Dylan, and after that, everyone, or scratch that, I mistakenly thought that I wasn't going to hear from him anymore. But then I remembered this maniacal look he had in his eyes that said this was only the beginning. Luckily, it's the beginning of the end. Logan doesn't realize that this is the only reason we're paying attention to him also. If he was buying Pokemon cards or starting an animal-based crypto scheme, it would all be done in like his own little bubble. But of course, boxing crosses over genres, so everyone's like, Logan Paul, but then in the back of your mind you're like, but boxing. These two are already as famous as they're gonna get, so now they're trying to do whatever they can to elevate that. And to some extent, it's working, but from a viewer standpoint, a consumer of sports, sooner or later, you're gonna have to fight someone, or whatever it is you do, with someone you have a bigger chance at losing with than winning. Obviously, I'm not a boxer and don't really watch boxing that much, but if you're someone who's really into the sport, keeps up with the fighters, actually pays attention, and you see someone like this with this record, you can't respect it. You can respect the time they put into training, but he uses all that skill on someone who's not even as good as his trainer. And now Logan is acting all tough because he's going to beat up someone who hasn't professionally fought in over 4 years. Meanwhile, you know Logan hasn't stopped training since his fight with Floyd, but is acting all nonchalant saying, I don't even have to train for this fight.
Bro, I don't gotta train for this.
Yeah,
bro.
you don't gotta train for this?
Guaranteed this man has one of those boxing dummies with Dylan's face plastered on it where he's just beating it till his arms give out. He's like, this one's for my wife and this one's for Prime. But after his face-off, Logan brought his brother Jake onto his podcast where they talked a little bit about Dylan and the upcoming fight, and both of them have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Logan needed someone to agree with him because the back and forth he was having with Dylan wasn't doing it, so he's like, let's try this again with people who are obligated to like me.
Speaking of unhappiness, Dylan Dennis, let's cover some of the stuff that's been going on there. Did you see the face-to-face?
I did not watch the full thing, no.
Why not?
I've been on a fucking terror, like work nonstop every single day.
Did you get hit?
I like how Jake didn't even come up with a good excuse. He's like, yeah, I've been on a fucking work terror, nonstop terrorist activity. I'm planning 9/11. You better watch out. It's nothing big, man. Nothing big. I couldn't watch it, though. I had no time. He could have just said, no, I was busy. What the fuck did you add the word terror for?
And I also was confused because I saw so many clips coming out for like 3 weeks, and then I would like go and look to see when it was coming out, and then when it actually came out, I like didn't.
It was me posting the clips.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why.
Everyone knows why, Logan. You don't need to tell us. And I felt the same way Jake did. He posted so many clips that by the time the actual video came out, I thought I had already watched the whole thing. Those clips didn't do anything to help Logan, by the way. They were awful at best.
This guy's he's a good Twitter troll. He's excellent. And in debating how to like tackle this, and even if I do want to tackle
I
it,
don't think he's a good Twitter troll because he's never. You have a very large weak spot, but when he tweets about anything other than Nita, it doesn't. No one cares.
Yeah, but
didn't
he get like famous for tweeting?
He's definitely. Let's give him some.
But he was dead until you resurrected his career.
So I will give him that. Dylan is getting a lot more exposure than before any of this was happening, but to say he's not a good troll, Jake literally explains why he's good at trolling Logan. He has a huge weak spot, which is his wife. He could have leaked your fucking news, and you post one picture about his wife, and this is how he gets.
You live with a friend on your couch, and you tweet about my fiance all day.
These two are probably the easiest people to troll. It takes little to no effort. A few hairline jokes would push them over the edge.
Yeah, he's like makes jokes, but it's largely in part that he's exploiting Nina, and there's so many hurt males out there who can't get girls, and they're the ones who are like, yeah, like fuck girls, fuck women. I'm gonna do. I love what Dylan's doing here, and they know that they won't ever get a hot girl. And our society and culture and young men are hurting. Now they're finding a way out to unleash their hate.
I like how they just come up with these random assumptions about how people are because it makes them look better. Yes, maybe a small percentage of people interacting with Dylan's tweets are incel woman haters. But just because we like when someone's getting trolled and is absolute monkey dick at making a response doesn't mean we're letting our hate out. If you haven't noticed, Dylan has been trying to dig his wife out of the hole Dylan has put her in, but every time he says he's not bothered, Dylan is like, how about I fuck your wife and get AIDS? And it's like, yo, Logan, you have comedian friends. You can ask them for a comeback. I actually want you to ask them for a comeback at this point, because if you really love your wife like you say you do, you would not just say, oh yeah, I love this woman, because apparently 50 other dudes have too.
Dylan's obviously damaged, and he may have some sort of mental illness that I empathize with, and he unfortunately, hurt people, and he's targeted an innocent bystanding female that has nothing to do with this fight, and people are latching onto it. And so we're going back and forth. They're like, well, do I even engage in this Twitter war? Also, do I give a fuck? Do I have to? Like,
why does he keep acting like he doesn't care? You're already engaging with him. It doesn't have to be on Twitter. You talking about him for a whole 10 minutes during your podcast is engaging with him. You adding him in the thumbnail when you only talked about him for 10 minutes out of the whole hour is engaging with him. Logan could be fucking Dylan and he'd be like, yo, do I even interact with this guy? I mean, he's just a troll.
Well, he did get some clout out of it. I'll present the other side of it just because I'll always be called a yes man.
You're more of a yes man. You know, you're like this kind of a yes man. You know what I mean?
After the face-to-face, I sat down with the guy and I was so curious to see what he was going to be like in real life. He's really just a puddle, Jake. I'm not even just saying this to be a tough guy. He melted. He stumbles over his words. He can barely get out a sentence. He can barely form a rational thought.
Speaking of not being able to form a rational thought, this was an actual interaction they had during their face-off. Now, watch this and you tell me who wasn't able to form a rational thought.
20 You're in WWE. Late. What's it called? You should know how to promote a fight. You don't know how to promote
What's it called?
WWE.
What's what called? You tried to join the WWE and got
I wouldn't
denied.
mind. I went there to go to SmackDown and you didn't show up.
Huh?
Logan couldn't pick on a fucking special needs kid if he tried.
You know, like it's much different in person when you're not tweeting behind a keyboard all day, which is why I'm so excited for October 14th, but I need him to show up and I have a prediction.
Get ready for the dumbest prediction you've ever fucking heard.
I thought of one that actually could be a good thing for him. And I'm going to say this right now. What's the date? I predict that he's going to somehow intentionally give himself COVID.
He's saying that like he just foiled Dylan's big plan of getting out of the fight. Dylan didn't show up to one fight with KSI in London, and just like that stupid picture, he's holding on to this till the very end. And honestly, if Dylan didn't show up to the fight as a troll, that would only make Logan more mad than he's already pretending not to be. The rest of the clip is just them talking about how Dylan is actually sad. Like they try and sound like mental health experts and like, this is a sad man and we wish the best for him. Shut the fuck up. I would have done exactly what Dylan did, only I would have at Logan in every tweet, just knowing that the tweet alone bothers him. Like I said, there was no need for this other than for Logan to get someone to agree with his delusional thoughts. I still think he's going to win, but with what's going on before the fight, that goes all to Dylan. Will it matter when it's time to fight? Probably. I feel like Logan, with every punch he throws, is just going to be thinking about every tweet this guy's made about his wife. Probably gives him a slight advantage. Someone should tell Logan to stop talking about this publicly because it's obvious how bothered he is by it. See you guys Monday. Peace.